This episode is brought to you by Caesar Gourmet Food for Dogs. Your dog deserves the best, so give them what they've always wanted. Real food for dogs. Caesar Wholesome Bowls are made with real chicken or beef as the first ingredient, and fresh vegetables. Crafted with no artificial colors, flavors, or preservatives, Caesar Wholesome Bowls are great as a full meal, topper, or snack for your best friend. Pick up Caesar Wholesome Bowls in the wet dog food aisle at any major retailer near you. Caesar, love them back.
Hey, what's going on? It is the ManFUzed Podcast. I am Kay Lee, audio producer, your host. Also, Ben H., my co-host, real estate entrepreneur, broker, agent, leader. He's all that and then some. Today on the ManFUzed Podcast, we're going to talk about identity, how you see yourself, what you identify as. But where do you draw the line? So I was at your house last night. We were shooting our first ManFUzed Productions commercial.
Indeed.
If you don't know anything about ManFUzed Productions, we have started a company geared towards helping successful people who are leaders in their industry. Doesn't matter how niche, doesn't matter what industry or what size business. We want to help them launch their podcast.
Yeah.
We can recommend what equipment they need. We could set them up. We could show them how to press record. And then from there, we would take all their audio and video. We would edit it. We would produce it. We would then put it through one of our products. You came up with it, called Launch.
Yeah.
And what that is we will launch their audio episode, their video on YouTube, on all platforms across the board, almost turnkey. The only thing they have to do is sit down and hit record. And we offer even more services, studio, build out, and construction. We sat at Ben's house and we were going over scripts and we recorded our first commercial that we will be airing on all the marketplaces. We'll take out ads and stuff like that, trying to find these business owners, these leaders in business.
Or even thought leaders. If you love to cook, you know what I mean? Then you want to do a podcast about cooking or anything. You know, I think the business aspect of it is very important because it ought to be a part of your marketing budget. It ought to be a part of what you're doing. I mean, if you think about it from a business perspective, you're really memorializing what it is that separates you from your competition in your designated field. And whether that's important to people who would be potential clients, or it's important to people who you want to work with you that you would like to recruit, or if it's important within your company to your
employees or your business owners or or 1099 contractors or whatever.
I think about it in my world of real estate where I'm looking at a few opportunities, and one of which has to do with being the managing broker of an office of almost 400 agents locally here. And I thought one of the great things that I could do as the leader of the office would be to have a podcast for the office and celebrate wins that agents have and celebrate our top agents and do fun things with the podcast. And I think it would be a great thing for the culture. So
talk about market conditions, talk about overcoming objections,
Absolutely.
Talk about all those things.
All real estate agents, anywhere you are in the real estate business chain, you would benefit from the podcast that we're going to launch around this opportunity, and we will launch it.
And launching podcasts for other real estate agents or leaders in the business, right?
In any field. And the point is, so we do ManFUzed Podcast, Ben H. and Kay Lee, but our real jobs, this isn't our real job yet, but our real job is you're an audio producer and a personality on radio, and I'm a real estate broker. Now, I don't have the time as a real estate broker to record, edit, launch, and promote a podcast. The only thing I really have time to do is real estate. And obviously what we do here with the podcast. But if someone would have came to me in the same way that I'm going to other people now about ManFUzed Productions and said, hey, you're a leader in your field. Have you ever considered doing a podcast? And most of them say, yes, I have, but I don't have the time. And that's my answer as well. Many people have told me over the years, hey, you should have a podcast, but I haven't had the time. Well, that's the solution that we're providing with ManFUzed Productions. You already manage a team of editors, audio editors, video editors. You understand the technology, the back channels. So we have an existing team that already produces not only this podcast, but other highly professional podcasts through the radio station that you work for.
Yeah, and we have some clients coming on board and
So
some
it's pretty
startups. Cool. Yeah, we're real excited about it. But so we were recording that, and yesterday we were filming it, which it should be pretty funny because as Ben H. and I do, we try to make it entertaining and to get our message across. And so we were talking about something, I believe it was afterwards. We've talked about it on this show that we are for everyone being who they want to be.
Sure.
Identify however the fuck you want to identify.
Right.
If you want to be a man, be a man. You want to be a woman, be a woman. You know, when it comes to women's sports, I don't believe, and I'm not trying to knock transgender people, I don't believe a person who was born physically with a penis and with genetics of a male, that just because they cut their wiener off and now they're taking estrogen, for them to be able to go and compete in women's sports. I think they should have their own fucking league.
Sure. Have a trans league. I have a son. I don't have daughters. Pertains to your daughters. We were all talking about it. The real problem is that now you have men saying that they're women, competing in women's sports, taking that opportunity from who are born as females, who belong competing with other natural born females. You're taking their opportunity away to win. Physiologically, the male is different than the female, and the female is different than the male. My wife weighs 100 pounds less than me. Now, she's every bit of
fit,
fighting tiger, and has got as
crouching
much
dragon
gristle as any of us, and she might even be able to kick my ass. I don't really know. But the point is that not really, okay? Like, if it really came down to it, it wouldn't be a fair fight. And that's why we always say, hey, a man can't hit a woman. I mean, in most places around where we live, if you are seen punching a woman, you're going to get your ass kicked by a man.
And then you're going to get thrown in jail.
And so that is the difference. I mean, there's a big difference. And those people who refuse to acknowledge it or want to blur that line or gray that line or whatever, just because you feel like a cat doesn't mean you're a cat.
Well, this is where I'm going with this. I heard a rumor the other day that the high school up here, have you ever heard of a furry? It's like a Dragon Con. They have conventions, furry conventions, where people dress up in these cosplay outfits.
Yeah, I've heard of the furries.
The furries, hilarious. Right? Yeah. And some of them are cats, and some of them are bears, and some of them are whatever.
Which, hey, good for you, man.
The high school were catering to people that identify as furries to the point where they were putting litter boxes in the bathroom.
That's just fucking stupid, dude. I mean, I pull my kid out of that school so fast, they wouldn't even know he ever was there. And I'm so nervous about sending him to public school, even though we live in a great area. I am so paranoid about this kind of bullshit because it's a joke. It's a joke, but it's not funny because the children don't have the developmental capacity to understand that it's bullshit. I mean, I tell my son all the time, I'm like, dude, TV's not real. Cartoons aren't real. The Paw Patrol's not real. You know, Pete the Cat's not real. I mean, he's a cartoon character and that's awesome. You like him. It's a story. It's cool, but it's not real. I mean, they don't understand that it's not real somehow.
But we're talking about high school kids here.
Even still, this is the result of playing into whatever it is that your kid thinks. I mean, this is a parent problem. This is not a child problem. I mean, what kid do you know that at some point in time didn't want to freaking be a dog or something?
Right.
Give me a break. I mean, we all went through childhood and we're like, hey, I'm a dog, or, you know, I'm a cat.
I'm going to lick my balls.
I'm a dragon, or, you know, whatever the hell, you know.
I'm really trying to lick my balls.
Who are these parents that are like, why, he thinks he's a cat? Do you think we should get him a litter box? Ooh, that's a good idea. Yeah, that way he could pee and poo-poo like a cat. What are we talking about here? You know what I'm saying?
Now, I don't know. I was told by my wife, because I didn't believe it. I said, no fucking way that there is a litter box that people at this high school. Yes. Now, I haven't gotten that confirmation yet. But my first question was, okay, so the janitor is going to scoop out urine out of this giant cat box? Like,
I'd quit.
Yeah.
I'd be done.
And then I
it.
came to a story. I said, you know what? I got kicked out of a party once because I pissed in some girl's litter box.
That's disgusting.
Well, actually, I was the second person. Your kid's 17. They identify as a furry. And I'm not saying all furries really, truly believe they identify as cats. A lot of times it's a weekend, convention. It's Dragon Con. People who go to Dragon Con that dress up as Luke Skywalker come Tuesday after Dragon Con.
Yeah.
They go back to their normal identity.
Sure. I mean,
because it's like Halloween. You assume you're Michael Myers for the night, but you're not really believing after the fact that you're Michael Myers and you're going to go around killing people.
Yeah. It's really unfortunate, man, because when you look at how society is currently built and how you have to enter the workforce in some kind of way, shape, or form, doing something, you have to earn money so that you can live somewhere. And that is the real danger here, because you convince somebody that they're a cat, you let them think that, now that's an excuse why they can't do human things. And that is a push toward, oh, okay, well, I guess if you're a furry, then we should subsidize furries. They don't think that they're human beings, and therefore, since cats don't have to go to work and get jobs, and they identify as cats, that makes them cats. So therefore, we should subsidize that. So now if you become a furry, you can go down to your municipality and fill out a form, and now you don't have to work. You get government aid and assistance because you're a furry. That's what it leads to. That's what happens when you remove people's identities, or you allow people to establish identities in society that are bullshit. If you're born with a penis, you're a male. Call it a man, man, woman. It doesn't matter. Male. There's male and there's female. Gender, sex, whatever you want to call it. I realize that there's a small population which are born, with both genders, and that's its own thing. But you can't be born a healthy male and then just become a female because you want to. I mean, we can call you a girl. I have a friend. I consider her a friend. I think she considers me a friend too, because I've always been very genuine with her. I had no idea that she was born a male and that she transitioned into being a woman when she was like 18, 19 years old. Surgery, full thing. If it didn't come from her, you could have never even convinced me that she was a man at one point in time. This is a beautiful Indian girl. Beautiful. I mean, she walked in here right now, you'd be like, dude, she is beautiful.
Did you have sex with her, man?
No, absolutely not.
Now, hold on.
Jennifer knows her.
Okay, hold on. Let me give you a scenario here, Ben. Before you met Jen, before you had your lovely family, when you were out there playing the field, you come across this beauty. You stare at her across the bar. Your gazes meet. Sparks fly. The energy is great. The conversation is tantalizing.
Yeah.
First date, second date, third date, you're going for the win. Boy. You do it. Then she tells you that when she was 18, she had her wiener cut off.
Yeah. Yeah.
How do you feel?
I mean,
Do you feel betrayed?
No, I would thank that person for their honesty.
After the fact?
Well, I would be glad that they told me before we got physically involved.
No, I'm saying you've already had sex. You've already put your P in her V.
There's no V. I mean,
No, if she did. Yeah, you know what they do with that surgery.
I know, but I don't know if you can.
They split the wiener and they fold it backwards and they create a vagina.
Yeah, but I don't know if you can, can you hit it?
Yeah, you can hit it. It's just another hole at this point.
I'd be pretty upset if
Would
that
you?
was the case.
Would you?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's something that, someone has the right to know, if they're going to be.
But I mean, it's not
involved.
like you said, she's beautiful. Uh-huh. You would have never fucking known.
Right.
I mean, she's got tits. She's got a nice ass.
Yeah.
She's got a V.
This is being very objective, but let's just say you went to buy a car and it was a beautiful car.
It was beautiful.
And you loved it.
And
it was the right color and it was the right everything.
Had horsepower.
It was exactly what you were looking for and you bought it. And then the salesperson said, "Oh yeah, I meant to tell you, we had to repaint the car when it came in because it was crashed when we received it."
or actually this was because you know how the chassis are.
Yeah, this was a lemon, or
this really was a
bent
Honda,
chassis.
and this was a Honda before we put the body of the Beamer on it.
Yeah, or something weird, you know. And I mean, it's just like for her, my friend, right? I was really happy for her coming out because it hit me when she came out. What would it be like? Because I had known her and worked with her for years,
and we should
to be in the closet about this, like, would just be she would actually use the men's restroom. And we always found it odd because we had a women's and a men's restroom in our office, and you had to lock the door because it was just like a single.
But she was a woman at this point.
Yes, but she would always use the men's restroom. And no one
So is this before the surgery?
Knew her many years after. I didn't know her when she was 18. I knew her when she was more like 30. You know, so, you know, we didn't think anything of it. But then when she came out, it all made sense. And so, and I told her this. I said, listen, you've always been a beautiful woman to me, and you always will be a beautiful woman to me. So congratulations on your announcement. And just so you know, I'm very proud of you for coming out like this. I'm sure it took
living
a lot
your
of courage.
authentic life.
Yeah, I'm sure it took a lot of courage. So I'm in full support of whatever anybody wants to do with themselves. And again, if you want to call yourself a woman and you want to dress like a woman and you want to have a surgery which reassigns gender somehow.
Turns your P into a V.
Yeah. Hey, you know, I mean, look, it's a free country, right? I mean, you should be able to do those things after you become an adult. I mean, they did a gender reassignment surgery recently. I believe it was somewhere in California on a 5-year-old.
Oh, that's fucked up.
On a 5-year-old boy.
I mean,
who's now a 5-year-old girl.
Did that 5-year-old boy, was he old enough to know that he
Give me a break, dude. It's the parents.
I mean, because a 5-year-old boy could play dress up with their sisters or friends.
These are the parents that are taking their little babies to drag shows. And all through their upbringing, they're a little baby, they're a toddler, and they're going to all these drag shows, and they're a little boy.
And now they think they're identifying.
Explain to them, hey, you know, that's actually a man, or that's a drag queen. This has a penis and like can dress up like a woman, and you can be a woman too if you wanted to. If that's the way you feel, you could be a woman too.
There has to be. I mean,
and,
like,
you know, the 5-year-old kid's going, yeah, I think I want to be a girl.
No, that right there, defects. You can't even get your kid a tattoo anywhere in the United States,
Right.
even with parent consent.
Yeah.
Now, you could find a shithole shop.
Yeah.
I'm sure, but not at 5 years old. I would even hard pressed that you would find anybody to tattoo a kid at 5 years old, because a 5-year-old kid has no idea really what they would want as they get older. And that's cruelty to children. That right there, they should be thrown in jail.
Yeah.
There should be no doctor that would have ever, this is how you feel when you're 18, we'll talk.
Yeah.
But at 5 years old? Really?
Well, and
is that true?
It's true, man.
And they're not in jail.
No.
Like, what doctor would approve that?
As a matter of fact, they have laws in California and other left-leaning states. And please, for the listeners out there, if you've got further information on this, please write in about it. We're very open-minded. There are laws in California and other places which allow a child to have a gender reassignment surgery without their parents' knowledge or consent.
That's absolutely
before they
crazy.
are 18, and they're calling these laws protectionary laws for trans kids. It gives the child an avenue to go to someone at the school and say, hey, I'm a boy, but I'm actually a trans. I'm a girl. I know I'm a girl, but my parents say I can't do anything until I'm 18, and they're not in agreement with it. And they're making me feel like uncomfortable and stuff like that. So the state will take the child, and it's considered a form of abuse, like child abuse, where the state can take the child and there are funds at the state to fund and have a gender reassignment surgery done. Now that is, if that's not an example of a closed society system where the people serve the interests of the state, I don't know what is.
Interesting.
I've been in a conversation with these guys on Instagram because there's this GIF. it was called The Exodus of California, right? And it basically showed it was by way of population, like a heat map where people from California are moving to all over the country, right? And I made a comment like the Marxist, this, that, or the other thing of California. No wonder people are leaving, and then that sparked this debate with this guy who's obviously a left-leaning person who the greatest trick that the devil ever pulled.
Ooh, tell me.
Is convincing you that he doesn't exist.
Of course, I've heard that many times.
And this is the strategy of many Marxist, communist, closed society style people, is they try to challenge you to define to them how these things exist.
Yeah.
Well, explain it then. Define Marxism. Define this. Define that. And then tell us how that exists in California. So they try to get you in these long-winded conversations where they can poke holes in your ideas so as to deflect your ideas as being, untrue, or as if you don't know what you're talking about. And I think it's really sad, man, because it really doesn't take much education. It's common sense.
Yeah.
What I just described is wrong.
Right. I think so.
That's wrong. I don't care who you are. That is wrong. Your child can go to the guidance counselor, claim that they're another sex than they are, and be removed from your household and have a gender reassignment surgery without your knowledge. I mean, dude, you want to talk about murder?
Well, no, a 5-year-old going in and finding a doctor or a person to do that surgery on a 5-year-old, the parents should be thrown in jail. So, hey, if you want to join the show, we would love it, whether you agree or don't agree. And I think we should point out, Ben's sister is a lesbian or bi.
Yes.
Ben,
No, she's a lesbian.
Okay, officially.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
I love her. May is awesome. Talented designer. Shout out to you, May. Worked as Madonna's assistant for a long time. I mean, she's teaching at SCAD. May is one of the coolest chicks I've ever met. Anyway, so Ben has someone in that community in his household.
Well, and I've been a big advocate for her and a big supporter of her all her life. She knew at a very young age that she liked the same sex. And hey, if there's going to be a male bathroom, a female bathroom, and a whatever,
it's like a family bathroom, but a trans bathroom, or
fine, I'm cool with that. If there's going to be a trans league, cool, perfect,
right.
Fantastic. But you can't take away women's rights.
Thank you, and hit us up, ManFUzed.com. Text or leave a voicemail at 770-744-5227. We'll talk to you soon.
Out.